A couple weeks ago, I saw you at the Comedy Store, and you asked me about your boy Brendan,
Yeah.
and like you would ask me about you
Well, let's explain the whole thing to people that don't know the story. Brendan said something where he was talking about UFC Tonight, right? It's UFC Tonight?
Yeah. Well, he was talking about
the Fox
panel.
Fox panel, and he said something about, I get it, Fox, you're not racist. Like saying that you have a bunch of black people on it.
Yeah,
because they're
full
not
black
racist.
cast.
Yeah.
And because they're not racist. Myself, Tyron, and
Yeah.
Karen Bryant were the three that were on the desk that day.
But also a lot of times Rashad, a lot of times
DC.
Yeah.
And so it was like, but are you checking off boxes? Because are these the best brains and the best speakers for the job?
Right.
And it was like, and you know, some people see the point that he was trying to make, the point that he claims that he was trying to make. But the thing is, when you start in on this race thing, you're saying effectively that there's a person or a group of these people are only there because of the color of their skin, right? You could say all of that without the whole "I get it, you're not racist, are you checking off boxes or whatever," right? Because if that doesn't matter to the question or the point that you're trying to make, then why bring it up?
Right.
You know, that's.
I feel like I know Brendan very well. I love him. He's one of my best friends. He's definitely not a racist, but he definitely talks too much.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a bad way, like he talks too much. I mean like he says he has too many podcasts and too many things, and you say things, and I'm 100% guilty of this. You say things, and you're like, why did I even say that? And then all of a sudden you're defending it, and then you're caught up in a, you know, just like a wave of just trying to sort out what you're saying without someone being there to say, well, look, here's the thing. Tyron Woodley, UFC welterweight world champion. Eve Edwards, arguably the best 155er in the world at one point in time, massive veteran of the sport. You can go down the list. Rashad Evans, former light heavyweight champion. I mean, you're talking about top flight champions, former champions, elite mixed martial artists. But you also have Bisping, you also have Paul Felder, you also have
Kenny.
Yeah, Kenny Florian. You know, you have they're just elite, top of the food chain fighters and analysts. I think it was a bad path to go down. I don't think it made sense. I think he thought it made sense in his head when he was saying it. I think maybe he was trying to be controversial. Maybe he just, I don't know. You know, it didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me either. But like my thing about it wasn't, okay, you're being racist, right? Like it's a thing when you bring race into the situation, right? But my thing wasn't you're racist because you say this. My thing was you're saying that I'm in this position because I'm not good enough.
Right.
You're saying that I'm only here because of affirmative action or whatever you want to call it. You know, there's not a quality to my work, and that's where I'm like, yeah, fuck that. That's not the case. I know that I'm good at. I know that I'm good at the sport. I understand the sport, and I'm good at explaining what I see.
Right. And who would, you know, the other thing is like, who would replace them? Is there white people that are missing out?
Yeah.
On the gig?
Yeah.
Like who's
everybody went to an audition.
Yeah, who's not getting the job though? Is there like someone who's like, wow, this guy really speaks really well, but they're holding him down because he's white? Has that even happened?
Yeah.
There's some people that would probably like that to happen, but I don't think that's actually happened.
Yeah, I agree completely. But so we kind of went through that, you know.
Yeah.
He sent me a message, he apologized about that, and I was like, cool. Like my thing was not about the race thing. My thing was you said these things and you're either saying somebody or a group of people up there aren't qualified for the job.
You're insinuating that a group of people that you belong to are not qualified to the job.
So that's where I was coming from with it.
Yeah.
And then I thought it was squash. But then he said some other stuff after that. And that's where I'm like, man.
What did he say afterwards?
He was, I forget the guy's name. Sorry, I remember. Luke Thomas, right? He was on this guy Luke Thomas's show. And he's saying stuff. He's specifically talking about me now. He's like, yeah, I talked to them. We're all friends. I talked to Eve. And he's like, well, see, this is something Eve sees in himself. And I'm just like, man, you're not.
Is that really what he said?
Yeah. Like he said, I feel like that's something Eve sees in himself. He was aggressive and this, that. You know, he said he was emotional and this and that. And I'm like, I never said to you I was emotional. none of these things. So like you're like this bus is coming, you're waiting to throw me in front of it or some shit like that. And I'm like, yeah, nah, that's not cool, man. Like we're not friends. We know each other. The extent of our friendship is like a UFC last summer. I saw Brendan across the aisle and some guy rolled up on him and was talking to him for like 10 minutes. And I'm looking back and I could see Brendan's like,
trapped.
Fuck that. Cause I'm like, let me go try and help him out. So I go over there and I start talking to Brendan and then the dude just hangs out. I talked to Brendan for about 5-10 minutes and then the dude just hanging out behind us and I'm just like, that's all I got, man. I'm going back to my seat. You know?
And the guy jumps
right back in. That's
Yeah.
the extent of it. I've seen him at different places beyond that. You know, Brian and I are cool, so I've seen him sometimes when I've seen Brian. But like we're not boys, we don't know each other like that. So and like and you're not a psychologist, you're not a psychiatrist, so you're not qualified to be speaking on my mental state.
I didn't know that he said that. I feel like now that I'm remembering it, you might have brought that up at the Comedy Store the other night. Yeah. It didn't make any sense. It doesn't make any. I'm Brendan's friend, and I can't defend him on that because it doesn't make any sense. It just didn't. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But sometimes he says shit that doesn't make sense, and maybe if you were in the room with him, he wouldn't have said it, or maybe he would have said it better, or maybe he would have, you know, said, are these really the best minds? But here's the argument. If they're not, who are?